You know what keeps me up at night? It's not thinking about people who never had a shot at success. It's thinking about the brilliant minds who had every single advantage, every opportunity handed to them on a silver platter, and still ended up with nothing but regret and what-ifs. If that sends a chill down your spine, good. Because what I'm about to share might be the most important wake-up call you hear all year.
Picture this. There was a kid named Marcus. And Marcus wasn't just smart, he was that kid. The one who made calculus look like basic arithmetic. The one who read philosophy books for fun while other kids played video games. Teachers didn't just like him, they were in awe of him. His parents didn't have to push him to study because he was naturally hungry for knowledge. By 14, he was solving problems that stumped seniors. By 16, he was taking college courses and acing them. By 18, 3 Ivy League schools were practically begging him to accept their full-ride scholarships.
Everyone, and I mean everyone, said the same thing. This kid is going to change the world. This is the guy who's going to cure diseases, start companies, write the books that define a generation. Marcus was destined for greatness, or so it seemed.
Now, let me take you 15 years into the future. Marcus is 33 years old. He's working a corporate job he absolutely despises, pushing papers, attending meetings that could have been emails, watching the clock every single day. He's living paycheck to paycheck, despite his supposed intelligence. The dreams he once had, they're so buried under layers of disappointment and resignation that he barely remembers what they felt like. The fire in his eyes, gone.
Replaced by the dull glaze of someone who's given up.
So what happened? How does someone with that much raw potential, that much early promise, end up here? And before you jump to conclusions, let me tell you what didn't happen. Marcus didn't get lazy. He didn't develop a drug problem. He didn't suffer some tragic accident. He actually worked hard, put in long hours, did everything society told him to do. And that's precisely where everything went wrong. Here's the thing about Marcus that nobody warned him about. He grew up being praised for being smart. Every single time he aced a test, won an academic award, or grasped a concept faster than his peers, someone reinforced this identity. You're so intelligent, you're gifted, you're special. Sounds harmless, even positive, right? But here's the psychological trap that was being set. Marcus started to believe that his intelligence was who he was, not just something he had. And when your entire identity becomes wrapped up in being the smart person, something dangerous happens. You start avoiding anything that might challenge that identity. You start running from situations where you might look stupid, where you might fail, where you might have to struggle like everyone else. Because if you're supposed to be smart and you fail, what does that make you? So in college, while Marcus still got great grades, he made a fatal mistake. He only took classes he knew he'd dominate. He turned down research opportunities that seemed too risky. He avoided joining startups or projects where he might be out of his depth. He said no to challenges that could have stretched him because failure wasn't part of his narrative.
Meanwhile, his peers, the ones who weren't labeled as gifted, were out there stumbling, falling on their faces, picking themselves up, and actually learning how the world works. Marcus graduated summa cum laude with a degree that looked impressive on paper but gave him 0 practical skills for the real world. Because here's what they don't teach you in gifted programs. Intelligence without execution is just wasted energy. It's like having a Ferrari with no gas. Marcus could analyze any problem you put in front of him with stunning clarity, but when it came time to actually do something about it, paralysis. This is where smart people shoot themselves in the foot repeatedly. They suffer from what I call analysis paralysis on steroids. Marcus could see every angle of a situation, every possible outcome, every way things could go sideways. And while he was busy mapping out all these scenarios in his head, trying to find the perfect strategy with 0 risk, people with half his intelligence were out there taking action, getting feedback, adjusting, and moving forward. Smart people mistake thinking for doing. They believe that because they've thoroughly analyzed something, they've actually accomplished something. But the world doesn't reward your internal mental gymnastics. It rewards output. It rewards results. Marcus spent years planning businesses he never started, writing books in his head that never made it to paper, and designing perfect strategies for a life he never actually lived.
But wait, it gets worse. Marcus fell into what I call the entitlement trap, and this is where things get really ugly. He genuinely believed that because he was intelligent, because he had the degrees and the test scores and the early accolades, that success should come easier for him. When doors didn't magically open, when he faced rejection, when opportunities didn't materialize just because he was smart, he took it as a personal insult.
He thought the world owed him something. And when the world didn't deliver, instead of asking what he needed to change, he became bitter. He blamed the system, blamed luck, blamed everyone but himself. Meanwhile, people he once considered beneath him intellectually were building successful careers because they understood something Marcus didn't. Nobody owes you anything, and potential means absolutely nothing without persistence.
Then there's the comparison trap that slowly poisoned Marcus's mind. He constantly measured himself against others, and it drove him insane. When he saw people less intelligent than him succeeding in business, getting promoted, living the life he thought should be his, it ate him alive from the inside out. But instead of getting curious about what they were doing right, instead of learning from them, he dismissed their success. They just got lucky. They knew the right people.
They took shortcuts. He never once stopped to ask the question that could have changed everything. What are they doing that I'm not? What skills do they have that I lack? Because here's the brutal reality. Marcus relied entirely on his intelligence and neglected literally everything else that matters in life.
He never developed emotional intelligence, so he couldn't read people or navigate complex social situations. He couldn't handle criticism without his ego shattering. He was terrible at teamwork because he always thought he was the smartest person in the room and everyone else was slowing him down. He had zero sales skills, couldn't network to save his life, and had the resilience of wet tissue paper. The moment things got hard, the moment he faced real resistance, his intelligence couldn't save him because intelligence alone doesn't build character, doesn't create meaningful relationships, doesn't push through rejection and failure. And here's the part that's almost poetic in its tragedy. Marcus understood all of this. He could articulate exactly what was wrong with him. He read all the self-help books, understood concepts like growth mindset, grit, emotional intelligence, and deliberate practice. He could explain the psychology behind his own failures better than most therapists. But knowing and doing exist in completely different universes.
His intelligence gave him perfect clarity about his problems, but not the courage, the humility, or the discipline to actually fix them.
Years turned into decades. Marcus watched his former classmates build companies, write best-selling books, make real impacts on the world. People he used to tutor were now giving TED Talks. And with each passing year, the gap between who he could have been and who he actually was grew into a canyon he couldn't cross. His internal narrative shifted from, "I'm going to do something amazing," to, "I could have done something amazing if circumstances had been different."
But here's what I need you to understand. Whether you're Marcus or you see pieces of yourself in his story, wasted potential is never permanent until you decide it is. This story doesn't have to be your ending. The difference between smart people who succeed and smart people who fail isn't more intelligence, it's humility. It's the willingness to be embarrassingly bad at something before you get good. It's taking imperfect action instead of waiting for perfect conditions. It's understanding that failure doesn't diminish your worth as a human being. It's just expensive feedback for your next attempt.
Success isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the most persistent, the most adaptable, the most willing to look stupid while you learn. It's about converting ideas into messy action. It's about building skills through repetition, not just understanding concepts intellectually.
If you're sitting on unrealized potential right now, let this be your wake-up call. Your intelligence is a tool, not a trophy to protect. Stop waiting for permission that's never coming. Stop waiting for the perfect moment that doesn't exist. Stop protecting an image of yourself that's preventing you from becoming who you could actually be.
The world is overflowing with brilliant people working jobs they hate, living lives they didn't choose, wondering what happened to their dreams. Don't be another Marcus. Don't let your intelligence become your prison. Let it be your launchpad.
Thanks for watching Story of Becoming. If this resonated with you, if you felt that uncomfortable recognition while watching, then smash that subscribe button, because we're building a community of people who refuse to die with their potential still inside them. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what's one action, just one, that you're going to take today to move from thinking to doing? Because here's the truth. Becoming isn't about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to start messy.
It's about choosing progress over perfection. See you in the next video, and remember, your potential is worthless until you do something with it.